New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring. New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from a secure concrete bunker somewhere in Ohio, New Thought Media Network presents Pastor Michael Mangus with Friday's Fireside Chat, spiritual conversation for today. Here he is from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands of watts, Pastor Michael Mangus.
Well, good evening to everyone across the United States and also around the world. It is time once again for another fun-filled, thrill-packed, and guaranteed, always exciting edition of the Fireside Chat here on the New Thought Media Network. Pastor Michael Mangus with you from the super secret radio room in the secure concrete bunker somewhere around Akron, Ohio, that is so top secret that only one person, that is my producer, Diego Reyes, knows where I'm located. Everyone else, including the Reverend Briz, the Reverend Robert Brzezinski, our Chief Inspirational Officer here at the New Thought Media Network, he has no clue where my top secret concrete bunker is located. Anyhow, hi there. Welcome. Good to have you aboard this evening. Please feel free to interact with us by posting your comments on Facebook and also in StreamYard. And again, for all of my shy people out there, I know you're out there. You don't comment, but I know you're watching. Please feel free to send me an email, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. So the purpose of our fireside chat here is to talk about contemporary issues from a New Thought spiritual perspective. And as I keep sharing with you week after week, is that I want us all to have a new thought about what is going on in the world and to see what is our part in bringing about a world that does work for everyone. And again, we talk about in our centers every Sunday about oneness. So if we're all one, then we are also part of the solution. So in honor of Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee this weekend, I thought that I would invite on the show royalty. All the way, in the background, he's giving his queen wave here, all the way from his kingdom in Palm Springs, California. We are honored to have on our show tonight the award-winning actor, singer, and minister, the Reverend Prince Fleet Easton, will be our very special guest from Palm Springs. We will be discussing his career, past, present, and future, plus also play for you his latest song that is getting airplay around the world, We Will Carry On. The Reverend Prince Fleet Easton is in the green room right now. Now, Diego, I told you that in the green room, part of his rider was no green M&Ms. Did you do that? Oh, he said he did. Okay, thank you. Did you put his diet, Dr. Pepper, back there too? He said it wasn't on the list. Okay. Well, I have a confession to make here tonight. After the shootings in Buffalo and then in Uvalde, Texas, I had to take a week off to process all of what was happening. And I was on Reverend Robert's show, Ministers Talking Shift, last Friday. We talked about in the morning what was going on. And something in me just said, I need a break. Did you miss me? Okay. Some of you did, some of you didn't. And this evening, the mass shootings continue. From Tulsa, the gunman who killed 2 doctors and 2 others at an Oklahoma medical building on Wednesday did so after blaming one of the physicians for causing him pain in a recent back injury. A police chief said yesterday, earlier in that afternoon before the rampage, the shooter purchased a AR-15 style rifle used in the slaughter, the police chief said. He killed himself after the shooting. Police Chief Franklin added, officers also found a letter on the shooter that made it clear that he came with the intent to kill the physician and anyone else who got in his way. The Tulsa shooting is one of the 233 mass shootings in the U.S. this year, according to the Gun Violence Archive. And then from Ames, Iowa, from last night. 2 people were found fatally shot Thursday evening in a church parking lot in Ames, Iowa. Ames, Iowa. That's out in the middle of corn country. The suspected shooter was also dead in the lot at the Cornerstone Church. They said gun massacres have left the country shaken and prompted new discussions about how to prevent them. In Iowa, authorities got a call of shots fired in the parking lot around 6:51 p.m. Captain Nicholas Lenny of the Story County Sheriff's Department said that he did not know if the suspect knew the victims. Well, in preceding reports, we found out that he had either dated or was harassing one of his victims. The shooting happened during the first summer night of a college ministry program called SALT Company. Ames is 30 miles north of Des Moines and is home to Iowa State University. And the church planned a prayer service for Friday morning. Pastor Mike Vance said in a statement, he also said, our hearts break for all involved and we are praying for everyone affected. Our ministry staff are available to support all of those impacted, and we will continue to fully cooperate with authorities as they complete their full investigation. Iowa's Governor Kim Reynolds released a statement on Facebook. She said that tonight's act of senseless violence took the lives of 2 innocent victims at their place of worship, she said. We ask that Iowans pray for the victims and their families, the members of Cornerstone Church, and the entire Ames community. And then our President, Joe Biden, yesterday While that shooting was happening, he called for stricter gun laws, including a ban on assault weapons, tougher background checks, and also a higher minimum age of purchase if lawmakers cannot agree upon an outright ban. Well, that's not going to happen. I'll tell you that in a moment. His plea to lawmakers come as many Americans remain rattled by the recent deadly mass shootings in Oklahoma, Texas, and also New York. Biden says, how much more carnage are we willing to accept? That's a good question. So what do we do about all of this gun violence? I'm not going to read the whole article here, but there's a wonderful opinion piece on CNN. This is what happens when 3 nations that experienced mass shootings do something about it. So without going into detail, in Australia, the United Kingdom, and also New Zealand, they had instances of mass shootings. What did they do? They went ahead and passed gun legislation laws to go ahead and to take the murdering weapons off the street. The article concludes by saying, in America, the change demanded by so many citizens is one day surely inevitable. With the admirable record of public health interventions which have saved millions of lives, the world's best resource society must eventually fend off the self-interest groups and the politicians who, by their inactions, fuel armed attacks on the nation's families. Although Americans are free to introduce or repeal a constitutional amendment, just as they did to expand suffrage, women's voting, also to end slavery and to introduce and repeal prohibition, gun massacres seem to spiral ever upwards until enough voters demand the obvious, and that's change. Okay, so now my opinion here. I spent the last 2 weeks reading, listening to the pros and cons about gun reform. And for the record, I'm not anti-gun. I just think that for the good of society, the most moral and ethical thing and the most spiritual thing that we can do here, especially for our kids, we need to have some limits. Yes, you do have individuals with mental health issues. You do in Australia, New Zealand, and also the UK. But they can't go get an AR-15 rifle to go shoot someone. See, that's the big difference here. So let's start with this list of ideas here. First of all, is you have to be 21 to buy a gun. Why is that? Again, scientists have told us that the brain in and of itself does not fully develop to adult status until after 25. So these children are making decisions that will affect not only their lives, but everyone else around them. Again, the 2 shooters in Buffalo and Uvalde were 18. And what about this gun store owner who goes ahead and sells an 18-year-old on his birthday, not 1, but 2 AR-15 style rifles with 300 rounds of ammunition? Another idea is a ban on assault-type weapons with a buyback program. You can't own a machine gun, a bazooka, or an anti-aircraft gun in this country. Why is that? Because there's limits. The other thing, too, is to adopt a stricter gun buying process, including mandatory training, background checks, and possibly psychological testing. Again, we require certain things for people to drive, training, a license, relicensing every 3 to 5 years. So why isn't this happening in our country? Well, that's because the gun and ammo sales in this country, the manufacturers and also the lobbyists, know that gun sales run into the billions of dollars each and every year. The other idea is this: without mentioning parties, vote for candidates who are for gun reform. So why is there so much pushback on getting legislation through the state and federal governments? Do you know why? Certain politicians are bought off by the gun manufacturers and lobbyists who continue to voice the same old Second Amendment rights issue. I think I put that in the banners, Diego, if you could bring that up for me, please. The Second Amendment says this: a well-regulated militia. That's okay. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Okay? So what don't you hear a lot when the Second Amendment is talked about? How about that well-regulated militia? Back in the 1700s, they needed something like this. Do we need this now? And finally, a common sense spirituality. That we start seeing the divine in each other. And this is all where we can pray and also work for peace. God and guns, as preached in some churches, like church and state, they need to be separated. Arming our teachers are not the answer. Praying, voting, and also working on common sense solutions are in this country. Well, hi there, welcome. This is a Friday evening fireside chat here on the New Thought Media Network, Pastor Michael Mangus. And in just a few moments, waiting in our luxurious green room with his shades on. Yes, they are beautiful. It's the Reverend Prince Fleet Easton. He will be here in just a few moments. Look at those shades, huh? Those are nice. Yeah, we have to give a plug to the manufacturer here in just a few moments. So thank you very much. That is our shameless plug. Don't tell Reverend Robert, Diego, okay, that we're plugging product on the New Thought Media Network, okay? He's not saying anything. We have a couple more news items here from the Ukraine. After 100 days of war, about 20% of the Ukrainian territory is now under Russian control. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on differing programs yesterday, adding that the Donbas region is almost entirely destroyed. About 800 people, including children, are hiding in several bomb shelters underneath a chemical factory, which has been targeted by Russian missile attacks, the head of the region's military administration said. Those in hiding are locals who were asked to leave the city, but they did refuse. Separately, the U.S. military hacking unit confirmed that it has conducted offensive cyber operations in support of the Ukraine and also to potentially deter Russia from continuing cyber attacks against U.S. infrastructure. And we continue our prayer support for the Ukraine. We mention it daily and nightly here on the New Thought Media Network. Our practitioners right now are safe, and they are supported by a group of ministers and also practitioners here in the U.S. who keep in contact with them on a daily basis. And of course, Diego's favorite news item, his favorite news item on coronavirus. He loves when I talk about COVID-19. Yeah, he's like I've been doing for the past 2 years here. Well, the good news is that COVID-19 shots for kids under 5 could begin in the U.S. as soon as June 21st or the summer solstice. The White House said yesterday the vaccine program for the youngest Americans would come more than 18 months after the vaccines were first authorized for adults. And despite some reluctance from the parents, White House, coronavirus response coordinator expects that the vast majority of kids will be vaccinated by their primary care provider sometime this summer. The good news, he said, is that the U.S. has plenty of supply of the Pfizer and also Moderna vaccines to start the vaccination program for kids younger than 5. And 10 million additional doses would be made available for states and pharmacies, community health centers, and federal entities in order to start the vaccination program today. Like I've been saying for 2 years, follow the science. I can't make you go out there and get vaccinated, but I can tell you this from personal experience is that the science has been right. So yes, I have all of my boosters. When I go to certain crowded functions, I wear a mask. And one of the reasons I skipped Hamvention this year, which is the largest gathering of amateur radio operators in the whole world, the reason I skipped this year was because, again, there was a lot of people. And so that's why I didn't go. And also the reason I did not go to CSL convention this year. So for me, I just used my gut. And I just, not from a place of fear, but a place of knowing within myself of what to do and how to do it. Diego, it's 8:21. I'm done. I get the thumbs up from the background. We're going to have some announcements, and then we will have on our very special guest this evening. It's not often that we have royalty here, but the Reverend, we'll have to ask him about that. The Reverend Prince Fleet Easton will be our guest. Yes, there he is. What a great shot of him. Yeah, my people had to get with his people. We had to do lunch. There was paperwork signed, money exchanged. There was all kinds of stuff. Again, we had been working on this for months, and we finally made it happen. Really, Prince had a Friday evening off for a change. So that's the reason why we were able to do it here. Well, yours truly is parking himself currently at Summit Center for Spiritual Living here in Akron, Ohio. For more information, please go to summitcsl.org. There and only there. You will find out information about our wonderful Sunday gathering online at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific time. Yes, people in the Pacific time zone get up early to watch our service. So grab a cup of coffee, tea, espresso, chai, whatever wakes you up in the morning, and come join us. I do believe that we have one of the best services in New Thought because there's a balance of music and message and meditation. So this Sunday, we will have our spiritual director, practitioner Diana Mangus. She'll be speaking. So go on Summit CSL for more information on how to join our Zoom call. Our service is also simulcast on the Summit Spiritual Center of Akron Facebook page. And also our Facebook page also has past broadcast of the Fireside Chat and yours truly when he's praying on the New Thought Media Network and not knocked off the air like Wednesday. So I had everything all prepared, ready to go. And at 9:58, the power went out. It did not come back on until midnight. So, but really enjoy praying with people on the New Thought Media Network. So please join us when we're on. I could go on and on and on about our schedule. We have so many wonderful programs, especially coming up on Saturday and also on Sunday. You can literally go to church from East Coast to West Coast on Sunday. All kinds of wonderful centers for spiritual living who are putting their broadcast on the New Thought Media Network. We also have great programming during the week. And as I often say, this is your New Thought Media Network, not ours. This is your network of inspiration, encouragement, and also enlightenment. And we, I believe, are ushering in a new age of light, a new age of a world that does work for everyone. So I'm asking, please, this evening, could you partner with us? Go to ntmedia.org/donate. Please give a very generous one-time gift, or if you could, become a sustaining donor. Each and every month, give a certain amount, because that really helps us in setting budgets, in paying our bills, and also to go through the open doors that we constantly get. I just got the software permissions today to work on our radio stream this summer through New Thought Radio. We are changing the world. We get cards and letters daily about how people are affected by our broadcast. So please go donate. We'd really appreciate it. ntmedia.org/donate. All right. Enough of me talking. Let's go take a break, and then we'll be back with the Reverend Prince Fleet Easton, all the way from Palm Springs, California, from his castle there. This is a Friday evening fireside chat here on the New Thought Media Network.
The views and opinions expressed by Pastor Michael Mangus are generally right. However, they are his own and do not reflect the views and opinions of New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, or any other person living or dead. As they say in the 12-Step Recovery Program, take what you like and leave the rest. Here again is Pastor Michael.
And it is our extreme pleasure this evening to introduce our guest. Prince Fleet Easton was born in Akron, Ohio. Yay! Where he made his singing debut at the age of 5. His biography, if I kept reading it through, the guy has been on stage, screen, and television. He has gotten more awards than Carter has pills. Now, some of you don't know that phrase, so go look it up. he has more awards on that wall of his than I think he needs to get a new house just to house all of his awards. Just to let you know, recently here on July 27th, 2019, Prince Fleet received the All Man Rock Entertainer Humanitarian Award and was named Entertainer of the Year. On November the 11th, 2019, Prince sang for the Veterans Day celebration and rededication of the Los Angeles Coliseum's 100th anniversary. And also, Prince Fleet can also be seen in the feature film #Blessing and heard on the soundtrack of the movie, singing the original song, Why Can't Christmas Be Here Every Day? That picture you see up there, this is why I call him a metaphysical spiritual badass. Look at that. Jeez, that gun's like a cannon. But anyhow, that's him as Detective Harris in the new action film Team of Two. Prince Fleet has also released a new single, an inspirational anthem relating to the Ukrainian war that's titled That We Will Carry On. So from our green room, it is good to have with us this evening the Reverend Fleet Prince Easton. Well, I messed up your name, but that's okay. Hi.
Hey, that's okay. They call me you
all kinds of names.
But if you're looking at me, I know you're talking to me.
Okay. All right. Hey, those are really cool shades. Tell us about them.
Well, I'm a representative now of Gratitude Glasses. And I was just thinking as I was in the green room, Laura Topper, she knows the producer of these, which is Sharon Walters, and they're dear friends. We've been on the show together many times. This is their new sunglass line. See, we call it Gratitude Glasses. Wonderful. And I just thought it'd be really great because they do have an affiliation with this channel. So I'm very honored that they asked me if I would be a representative, one of the representatives, they have many, to wear the glasses. And I love them. I mean, because anybody looks like a star in them. Plus, I'm living here in Palm Springs, which it's very sunny and very hot.
Not like Akron, Ohio.
Not like Akron. No, we are starting into our hundreds, which in the summertime goes up to about 120. Yes. So you have to have your sunglasses to protect those eyes.
And that is Gratitude Sunglasses.
Yeah.
And where can you get those?
On Amazon, you can look them up, Gratitude Glasses, on Amazon, and you'll find them there. If anybody's interested, I just thought I'd like to do that for her. And like I said, since she has a connection with New Thought Media.
We do shameless plugs here on the Friday evening Fireside Chat all the time.
Well, we keep it. Okay. It's in the family. We're keeping it in the family.
And we won't charge her either. Anyhow, oh my goodness. I mean, your bio is just incredible. So what's your thoughts about the news and what's going on now?
Well, first of all, before again, I was going to say, that's just the short version. The regular version's about 7 pages long. And usually when I send that to people, they go, "Can you send me a short version?"
And this is the short version.
That's the short. That's the shortest I could get. It's like, okay, what's currently happening? It's what can you say? It's unbelievable. And I agree with you as your beginning statements. There needs to be laws, gun laws. 18-year-olds don't need to be buying AK rifles and stuff. I mean, it's, as you said, their brains aren't completely developed until you're in your early 20s. So there's no need for that. Why would anybody need a rifle like that other than maybe psychologically making them feel like they're important? And then we're going into another category of self-worth.
Right.
You need these things to make you feel good about yourself. So something has to be done, because I was just reading that there has been over 200 mass shootings since the beginning of the year. And there have been now, I think, 20 in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Since what happened.
Ames, Iowa. This guy comes out, they're having a church function, and I guess that he was the ex-boyfriend of the one girl, shoots her and a companion in a church parking lot in Ames, Iowa.
Well,
I just don't understand.
Well, I know they keep talking about, mental health, but, even like the judge said, there was no signs of mental health other than we know now that he had been bullied, and this part of what triggered it. But if you don't know someone is having mental issues or whatever, you would know. And how are we going to know? I mean, we didn't know anything about this until after it was over with, that he had a manifesto, basically a manifesto where he wrote on Facebook of what he was going to do and what he was doing and stuff. But as the judge said, I mean, people were not really aware that there was an issue here. So how you can't really equate it to saying that we need to have more health issue programs. We already have that. There's something has to be done. Whatever is now is not working. This is not working. I mean, they said after Sandy Hook, there was going to be a change. Well, here we are all these years later and nothing has changed. It's still happening.
Yeah. And I know nothing about guns. You probably know more about guns than I do.
Well, you know what? When I was doing this movie, I was very aware. This actually, when I was shooting, this was after with the movie Rust, and the incident happened on Rust, and I was getting some flack and stuff. People saying, about using the gun and stuff, and I said, but I'm a good guy. I'm one of the good guys.
Right.
So the good guys, it's okay for the good guys to do that, even though we shouldn't be having guns, period. I mean, there's no really need. Look, what is it? Australia or one of the countries like that I was reading. I mean, they ban guns and they don't have these issues. So it was very interesting how these different incidences have triggered people's thoughts and opinions towards what I'm doing, even though it's a movie. And I've tried to tell people, it's a movie. Yes. It may not be, maybe in your opinion, you think it might be detrimental, but I'm in show business, this is what I do for a living.
And you were playing a cop. I'm
playing a cop, and I'm not shooting the gun for real, so I don't know what to say other than that.
Have you ever shot that gun before?
No, I have not. I have never shot a gun in my life. Now, I have a lot of friends who go to rifle ranges, and they have invited me to go, and I've never gone because I never had the desire to ever do that. I don't even know if I could do it without getting, that whatever the kickback is. It probably would knock me on my keister, because I'm very little. I'm a very
well. See, and that gun itself, if you were to go ahead and just shoot it, yes, you really have to hold on and know, really be very cognizant of your stance, because that'll knock you on your butt, literally.
Yeah.
Well, hi there. Good evening. This is the Friday Evening Fireside Chat here on the New Thought Media Network. We have here award-winning actor, singer, producer, humanitarian, and also minister, the Reverend Prince Fleet Easton.
Yes.
Okay, so how did a nice guy like you get into metaphysics?
Well, all of my life, even when I was very young, I was always on a spiritual quest. I didn't know I was on a spiritual quest, but I always wanted knowledge on things. So I would study all different religions, different philosophies, and never realizing that there was actually a community out there that encompassed all this until in 2000, I was singing in nightclubs in Florida. And one of the girls that I had worked with in one of the clubs, she was the musical director at Unity. And she called me up. And like I said, I was not aware there were New Thought communities. So she called me up and she said, our soloist has passed and we're looking for a new soloist. And a voice told me that I should call you. And well, like I said, since I didn't know what unity was, I thought it was maybe mainstream religion, and we'll get into that, where I am interfaith. I honor all paths to God. So I said, well, I don't think so. I can do it, but I really am not interested in that. And she said, well, we're going to pay you this amount of money. And I said, well, you know what? I can sing anything.
Yes.
That changed my opinion really quickly. So that was my awakening of my spiritual journey at that time. And what was interesting is that I had a voice now starting to speak to me. I don't know if it was my higher consciousness, an angel. I told people, all I know is that it's not my voice, and it guides me onto what I'm supposed to do. And so like I said, I started in 2000. So by 2002, the voice was that's when it really came in strong, and it said, you need to do an inspirational album. This album will take you to where you've been trying to go all your life. So I had no idea how to do this. So I just placed it in Spirit's hand and said, okay, guide me. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So it led me to all the people that I worked with. And here's what's really interesting, is because everything was supplied. This is how I live my life. I always know that everything is going to be supplied. This is where I learned it from. So when I was doing the producing of the album, it becomes very costly when you're paying licensing fees and everything. So it was like, wow, we're getting into the thousands and thousands of dollars. So for a couple of weeks, it was really strange. I would sit up front, and no one ever sat next to me because I was the musical soloist. And the first time, this lady sat next to me, and I was talking, and I said, Lori, I have to do this album, and it's going to cost this. She said, Fleet, I used to work in the music industry. She said, here's how you do it. She says, go get a sales receipt book and do a pre-sale. So the next week I went in, and we had 2 services. Between service, which was about 25 minutes, I sold 137 albums, and I didn't even have a product in my hand. They just, my reputation, and they knew what I was capable of doing. So now another week we're getting into it. Now it's time to do the cover shot. So no one ever sits next to me. A lady sat next to me that Sunday. And I said, oh, Joan, I said, I'm being told that this album, it has to be water, because water represents the spiritual realm, and I can see all this. And she said, can I shoot the cover? I said, are you a photographer? She says, yeah, I've shot the cover for many stars for their CD. I said, I don't think I can afford you. She said, don't worry about it. We'll work something out. Okay. That was taken care of. Wow. Now I've got to go in. I start the album. So I put my hand on the mouse, and I said, okay, guide me to what I'm supposed to do. It led me to each song that I was supposed to do. Now, at that time I was being represented by an agent, and I knew I couldn't let the agent know what was happening because they would try to control it. And I knew that Spirit had to control this. So I went in and I did the first cut on the album. And when I was done, and all of them are one take. When I finished, everybody in the sound studio were like, they were looking at me like, and I said, what's wrong? They said, oh my God, the hair's standing up on the back of our necks. I said, oh, that's a good thing. They said, yeah, there's something here. So, okay, this is all going to tie together. So, okay, we get that done. Now, the lady brings me the photographs. Now, I should say this. We were on the beach for 3 hours doing location shooting. And her price, I was like, she kept saying, let's do another roll. Let's do another roll. Let's do it. I'm like, oh, I'm clicking. Like, okay. So she brings me the photographs, like 100 or so. And we selected the very last one where I'm kneeling in the ocean and I throw water up and it's falling down on me like rain. Wow. So I said, okay, how much do I owe you? She said, you don't owe me anything. an angel came to me and said, I'm to be a part of this project. Now, it's going to get more.
Oh, okay. This is a great story. Go ahead.
So when I finished the album, I asked the sound man, I said, how much do I owe you? He said, you don't owe me anything. Now, these people don't know each other. He said, a voice came to me and said, I am to be an angel to help you produce this project.
Wow.
So that's, like I said, this is how my life is guided. So then it talked to me, and then I decided, okay, I was living in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch, and I thought, I'm an artsy person. I want to live in something really unique and different. And in Florida, there isn't too much unique and different. They all look like Spanish houses, stucco.
Yes.
So I went out for weeks, and I was driving around and day and night, because I don't want to work with a realtor. I need to experience it and be there. So I'm driving back in this nature preserve that I didn't even know existed. And I see this house, and it's all angles and celestial triangle glass and up and I'm going, oh my God, look at that house. And it wasn't for sale. But as I drove away, I looked in the rearview mirror and I said, you know what? I can be very happy there. So I had written a manifestation saying I wanted a 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch with not a ranch, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a sunken Roman shower, with a fireplace, all open concept, and a ½ acre. So I called the real estate. 2 weeks later, I pull out onto the highway, and the voice said, go back there. Now, I had reached a point. I've been doing this for like 6 weeks. And I reached a point there was nothing out there. So I pulled out onto the highway, and it said, go back there. I said, there's nothing back there. It said, go back there. I said, there's nothing back there. It went, go back there. So I went back there, and I'm driving down the street, and I see a for sale sign down at the end of the street. And I went, oh my God, that looks like the house. And I got down there, and the sign was in the yard. I called the number, and I said to the real estate agent, how much are you asking for this home? And he said, I'm sorry, sir, but we don't have a home for sale on that corner. I said, well, your sign's in the yard. That's how I got your phone number. He said, hold on, I'll be right back. He came back about a minute later, and he says to me, how did you find this house? I said, a voice sent me there. There was dead silence.
God's voice can get pretty loud sometimes.
He said, I don't believe it. He said, because they're not even back with the paperwork. That sign must have only went up about 15 minutes ago. He said, so it led me to that. So I'm saying, so now it's 2007. I'm singing with the Space Coast Pops Orchestra for 5,000 people. And the voice comes in while I'm on stage. And I don't know if you've ever worked with an orchestra. It can be very nerve-wracking, because you get your music ahead of time, but then you have a 10-minute rehearsal. Then you're thrown to the wolves.
Absolutely.
And it's like, you go no matter what.
That's
so right. I'm singing, and the voice came in and said, you must go to Palm Springs, California. You have to be there to meet the people who are going to take you to the next place in your life and career. And I knew nobody here. And at that time, I was singing with an opera group. I was co-hosting a television show. I was giving reports for NASA on the shuttles. I was starring in a Brevard theatrical ensemble where we brought classical pieces to life, like Shakespeare and Chaucer and all. And I was doing all these things. So I thought, oh my God, how am I going to leave all these people are relying on me. But within 3 days, I said, you know what? I've got to do it. The voice said, I've got to do it. My family thought I was crazy. My friends thought I was crazy. They said, you're really doing well here. You're successful. But a part of me, I was in a secondary market working out of Orlando doing movies and television. Yes. And I wanted bigger, because when you're in the secondary market, you'll get bit parts, 5 and unders, featured extra. I had been there, done that. Don't want to do that anymore. I wanted bigger. So I packed up my car. I had a little Geo Tracker, a little Jeep, got in there, drove 3,000 miles all by myself, got on I-10. I was driving to Orlando every day, which was like a 2-hour drive. And I think it was all total 400 miles, all total round trip. And I just said to my family, I said, what's the difference if I'm driving that every day round trip as opposed to driving 400 miles and just keep going straight ahead, straight ahead, straight ahead. And the whole time I was driving, I kept thinking of Lewis and Clark. I'm trudging a path through the wilderness for my family to come behind me. So that's how I ended up in Palm Springs, California. It wasn't my goal. It wasn't my dream. I knew I needed to be in California, but I didn't know how Spirit was going to manifest it. And it's been the best journey because it's allowed me to be able to connect with Hollywood. You know, Hollywood now is so outrageous to live in. I mean,
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Price $100 million for homes. I mean, that's insane. And it's really cute is that during COVID, a lot of the actors and directors I know from Hollywood, you know, they weren't working for almost 2 years. They all relocated here. So there's a whole group of us that live here now that all commute, and it's a lot cheaper to commute than it is to live in LA. Although someday I would love to be able to live there. I don't, you know, the traffic can be challenging.
Yes, that's one of the reasons I don't. When I come to Southern California, I let other people drive. We have just 5 minutes left here.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't talk too much.
No, you're fine. I wanted to talk about how did you get, you were recently ordained
Yes.
By the Reverend Dr. Sharon Stroud, who unfortunately made her transition earlier part of the year. So talk to us about the call to ministry. What made you go ahead and take the training?
Okay, that's the voice again. Okay, I was going to Unity and I was trying to get really connected with Unity and it wasn't working. So I left. And then a lady that I had met there was from Canada. She called me up and she said, Fleet, there is another spiritual center, Interfaith Spiritual Center Worldwide. I think that's where you belong. And I thought, oh, well, I never heard of it. Okay. So I waited a couple of weeks and I sat down in the front row and here, little known that the soloist was leaving in 3 weeks.
No.
And they had been manifesting someone to come for months. So I was sitting down front and he heard me and he said, are you a professional singer? I said, yes, I am. He said, do you have a demo? I said, yes, I do. I gave him my demo. And that was on a Sunday. The next day they called me up and said, you're hired. Wow. And I was there for 16 years till she just made her transition. Yes. And now myself and Reverend Damien Calmet have taken over the ministry, and we are now taking it on to another level.
You guys are doing a really wonderful job.
Thank you.
And I think that, and Sharon is missed.
Well, you know, I was going to say about the ordaining. Okay. So, it wasn't in my plan. I consider myself a musical minister, but a year and a half ago, she had approached me about ordaining me. And I said, well, you know, I'm not the kind of minister that can get up and talk and, you know, give lessons and stuff like that. But I consider myself a musical minister. So that is what I am, an ordained musical minister. So it covers all bases, though.
Well, that's absolutely wonderful. So tell us before we close tonight, first of all, we're going to have you back on. So okay. My people have to get with your people. We have to do lunch, paperwork, all that stuff. So
well, you better do it quick because it's filling up fast.
I know. Okay. So tell us about the song that we're going to play here in just a few moments. We will carry on. How did you get involved in this project and what happened?
Okay.
Okay. The voices, right?
Yes. The voice is always there. It always guides me. So, Aaron Mann, who is an Academy Award-winning documentary winner, and Sean Francis wrote this song, and they were looking for someone to sing it, to do, I guess, a demo. And I heard the song, and they had told me that first I heard it, it was like, this sounds like a Josh Groban song. And they said, well, that's funny that you said that because we're trying to get it to Josh Groban, but we can't see him. But you were recommended to do the vocals. Are you interested? I said, are you kidding? I said, there's something here. When you're a singer and you hear a song, you know instantly if it's a song that you got to put your mark on. So I knew when I heard it that that's what happened. So I took it into a studio. I was on a limited budget of what I could produce, but I think I produced a pretty good, I don't want to say a demo. I think it's a little more, it's better than a demo, but it's a good representation of how we want to get it to the next level. They're shopping it for movies and television. And my goal is to go in and record it with a 52-piece orchestra, just like my song that I have out also now that's on 150 stations, Shine. And that was done with a full orchestra.
How wonderful. How do people get in touch with you?
Well, they can, basically right now, we need to get a new website going, but I'm on Facebook, Prince Fleet Easton. They can find me. I post everything. I am an open book. And I don't know, sometimes I tell too much, but I'm an open book. Oh, no. And I just like to share everything. I love what I do. I've been doing this all my life. And I have such a passion for what I do. And I am so grateful that I was given a talent and an ability to get paid to play.
Yes.
And that is a blessing.
All right. We got to go here. So we're going to let Prince Fleet Easton go ahead and sing us out here with We Will Carry On. We'll see you next week here on the New Thought Media Network.
As we look around and hear the of desperate cries of pain, let us all come down, let us all be found while we're seeking to be saved. We will carry on, we will come back strong when we lose our way. Look up to the sky, let our faith soar high as we carry on each day. When it all seems wrong and all hope is gone, fearing we have lost our way, let us trust our hearts to forgive the wrong as we face a brand new day. We will carry on, we will come back strong, even when we lose our way. Look up to the sky, let our faith soar high as we carry on each day. Let us all unite and maintain the right to never live in fear. Let us live together in harmony and not shed another tear. We will carry on, we will come back strong, even when we lose our way. Look up to the sky, let our faith soar high as we carry on each day. We will carry on, we will come back strong, even when we lose our way. Look up to the sky, let our faith soar high. We will come back strong, we will overcome as we strive to carry on.
Thanks for joining us this evening for Friday's Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael Mangus. Join us again next week at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain for more spiritual conversations for today. For more information and replays of past shows, please visit the New Thought Radio and Media Network's Facebook page. Until next week, may God bless you richly and abundantly.